In today's video, we're going to take a dive into the July 2024 housing market update for Cedar City, Utah and St. George, Utah. We'll take a look at what's happening in these markets year over year, and then we'll look at some of the national trends so that you can compare the two. Then we'll discuss what this means for you as a buyer or a seller. My name is Elizabeth Prisbrey. I'm with Stratum Real Estate Group. If you are looking to buy, sell, or invest here in Southern Utah, I would love to help you out with that. Please feel free to call, text, or email. My contact information is down below in the description. All right, let's take a look at the July 2024 housing market update. Now, I say July because it is July. However, this is taking in data through the month of June. We had to wait until July to be able to pull the data through June 30th to make sure you had the most update information. Now, I've jumped us into our slides to give you a visual of what is going on. We're going to take a look at the median sales price first because this is a good indicator of what has been happening for the month of June year over year for the last 10 years. We have Cedar City noted in blue here. We have St. George noted in green. Cedar City and St. George markets are completely different. St. George has a population of around 108,000 people, whereas Cedar City has a population around 40,000 people. Now, this doesn't take into account the outlying areas or suburbs surrounding these two cities, but it gives you a good picture of what is happening in these two areas. Both locations are in a desert. However, Cedar City is in a high desert, so it does get 4 mild seasons, whereas St. George is a little bit lower, so you are getting a lot warmer temperatures. Now, I explained that so you can see why these two median sales prices are so different. You can see that St. George has pretty much been about $100,000 more than Cedar City as far as the median sales price goes over the last 10 years. However, we are starting to see a larger separation here in 2024. We have St. George sitting right around $560,000 as the median sales price, whereas Cedar City is sitting just under $350,000, a little closer to $340,000 as the median sales price. You can see that Cedar City peaked in 2022 right around $415,000 as a median sales price, but then it started to depreciate in 2023. Now, this is specific to the month of June. If you watch my other monthly housing market updates, you know that there have been months where we have seen appreciation in Cedar City. So it is dependent on the month. However, for the month of June, we saw considerable depreciation from 2022 to 2023 for Cedar City. And then we did see about another $15,000 to $17,000 in depreciation from 2023 to 2024. St. George also peaked in 2022 at $560,000. They went down to just under $480,000 last year, but have recovered this year and are back up at $560,000 for that median sales price. Again, this is specific to the month of June. Now, as we dive into this monthly market update, we'll take a look as to why we are seeing home prices appreciate in St. George and why we are seeing a downward trend in Cedar City. Now, absorption rate really has a lot to do with it. Absorption rate really is that monthly supply of housing that we have. If you watch this often, you know that a 6-month supply is considered a balanced market, meaning both sellers and buyers have negotiating power. We haven't seen that in either of these places until 2015. Really, it's 5 to 7 months is what they say, 6 being the average there. That was when we had a more balanced market in both of these locations, where we saw our home prices a little bit more moderate there. Now, of course, both of those took a considerable dip in 2021, which is when we saw these home prices really skyrocket for Cedar City and St. George. However, in 2022, when those interest rates went up, we saw the monthly supply of housing also go up. Now, Cedar City's went up much quicker than St. George's housing supply went up. However, in 2023, the supply of housing in St. George went past what Cedar City had as far as months inventory goes. That's where you see that dip in the median sales price for St. George as well, because that's when they really saw an increase in their inventory. Of course, Cedar City is right there with it, both of them over a 3-month supply of housing, which is much better than that 1-month supply that we had in 2021. And so you will see prices start to correct there because buyers have more power when negotiating the terms because there's more inventory on the market. So we will definitely see these price corrections happen as we see this monthly supply of housing go up. Now, you can see St. George pretty much stabilized from last year to this year. People are getting used to the supply of housing that is there. So we are starting to see those home prices go back to appreciation and get a little bit more balance to where they were. Cedar City, on the other hand, has had a gradual increase from 2022 to 2024. Not quite the shock that St. George had. Both locations right now currently have the same amount of monthly supply, right around 3.5 months. Now, what that means is if nothing changes, no new homes are added to the market, all conditions remain the same, it's going to take about 3.5 months to sell off the current inventory. Now, another thing that we look at is days on market. This is how long it takes a home to sell in the current market. Now, this is the median days on market. Some homes are taking less than this, some homes are taking more than this. It is really going to depend on that price point. If you have a really expensive home, it's considered more luxury. It's going to take longer to sell. It's going to have more days on the market because your buying pool is much smaller. You're fishing in a much smaller pond of people that can afford that home. If you have homes that are priced lower on the market, those typically go a little bit quicker because you have more buyers that can afford that home. So that's what we're looking at here. We're really looking at median days on market. Now, again, we have Cedar City in blue, we have St. George in green. Currently, it's taking about 36 days on market for a home to sell in St. George. That's about 8 days more than it was last year. In Cedar City, it's taking about 24 days for a home to sell once listed on the market, about 4 days less than it did last year. Now, what's interesting is Cedar City homes are selling almost 2 weeks faster than the homes in St. George. For the most part, these two have been pretty close as far as days on market. But we're definitely seeing a shift in what is happening here in St. George and in Cedar City. So let's dive into Cedar City first. We're going to take a look at the new active pending and sold listings. We've got new in blue, active in red, pending in purple, and sold in green. I separated the two cities here just because there's a lot of data happening. The first thing I want to take a look at is the active homes on the market. This one's important because that's how much inventory there currently is for people to actively look at. Now, you'll notice that our active listings is up from last year. This gives buyers more options in the market and gives them a little bit more negotiating power. So that is likely why we're seeing more of a dip in the median sales price in Cedar City, because notice here, we've also got our new listings that completely dropped off from 2023 to 2024. But also notice here in blue, the new listings that came to the market in the month of June went down considerably from 2023 to 2024. That means that the homes that the buyers saw on the market in the month of June have likely been sitting there longer and have become a little bit stale, causing those home prices to be reduced or priced down or had a price correction or however you want to say it, which will also cause that median sales price for the month of June to go down. So this is kind of how our new and active listings come into play here. Now, I also want to take a look at the closed sales. We had less homes sold in the month of June than we have for the last 9 years. In 2016, we had 58 homes sold in the month of June. 2024, we had 62. So we definitely didn't sell as many homes this June that we have in the last several years. However, it's only down slightly from 2023. All of this is contributing to the median sales price in Cedar City going down. Now, as far as St. George goes, we're looking at the same type of graph. New is in blue, active is in red, pending in purple, sold in green. As far as our active listings go here in St. George, those have been trending up since 2021. Of course, the biggest increase from 2021 to 2022, but pretty close from 2022 to 2023, and then just a slight increase from last year to this year. Now, as far as new listings coming to the market, those went down considerably from 2022 to 2023, and then just a very, very slight increase, almost the same from 2023 to 2024. Although the active listings aren't quite where they were in 2015 and 2016, it's pretty comparable to pre-pandemic. And you can see St. George really had a steady increase in appreciation up until we saw those mortgage interest rates rise and really affect our housing market. Now, of course, there are several things that contribute to our housing market data. We do the best we can to understand it so that we can make the right choices for ourselves, whether it's going to be to buy, sell, invest, or hold off for a little while. When we're looking at all of this data, we also want to take a look at where mortgage interest rates are headed and where they currently are, because this is an indicator of what the market could potentially do. Currently, the Freddie Mac website has the 30-year fixed mortgage interest rate right around 6.86%. 6%. That has been trending downward over the last several weeks. One of the contributing factors to that is the U.S. inflation rate. They like to see that inflation rate right around 2%. Of course, we are not there right now, and this is actually ending the month of May because this is always a month behind. We're at about 3.27% inflation rate. That is up from the end of January when we were closer to 3%. So we did see mortgage interest rates climb. However, we are starting to see inflation trend downward, which is a good sign. We're not quite to the goal yet, but it's still a good sign. Now, this indirectly affects the Fed funds rate, which indirectly affects our mortgage interest rates. So it kind of gives us an idea of which direction they could be heading. Now, I do want to take a look at some mortgage rate forecasts for July 2024. You can see this is from an article on Bankrate, where some notable sources predict where they expect that 30-year fixed mortgage interest rate to end year 2024. We've got Fannie Mae here predicting 6.7%. The National Association of Realtors agrees at 6.7%. We have Mortgage Bankers Association predicting 6.6%, with Freddie Mac predicting 6.5%. If we go back to our mortgage interest rates, that's not a huge decrease, but that actually can affect your monthly housing payment significantly. So be sure that you're paying attention to that. Remember, if you're waiting for interest rates to drop to purchase a home or to get back into the market, so is everyone else. If we take a look at what buyers are doing, last fall, 3 in 4 buyers stopped searching. This is a graphic from Keeping Current Matters where they showed that only about a quarter of the buyers searching for homes stayed in the market. And they left for many reasons, but the top reason was that mortgage interest rates are too high. So if those mortgage interest rates drop, a lot of these buyers, they're coming back to the market. When that happens, that's more competition in the market, meaning there is a chance that you are getting outbid for that home, or the inventory we have is quickly bought up. So if the timing is right for you, your finances are in order, you can make those payments, and you find a home that you like, then it might be the right time for you to buy, because if those mortgage interest rates go down, you can always refinance that. Now, this is also a graphic from Keeping Current Matters. These are all national graphics, so take it for what you will in our current market, but a lot of it applies here. This shows how many buyers were in the market in 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. You'll see that in 2024, there is less buyer competition in the market. That's because 3 out of 4 buyers stopped shopping. Now, some of the other reasons that this happened is home prices were too high and they couldn't find a home in their price range. They were unsuccessful with their offers, meaning they were competing with cash buyers, or they just couldn't find the right home for them. Many different reasons why people stepped out of the market. But with less competition from these buyers, it gives you more opportunity to actually go in and negotiate terms that work for you. Now, month over month, we are seeing the inventory of our current supply of housing increasing. This is both nationally as well as locally here in Cedar City and St. George. As this happens, we see home prices moderate. If we take a look at early 2022, we're seeing the appreciation in home prices quite high. It did go down and get a little depreciation in 2023. We saw that happen in both Cedar City and St. George. However, appreciation is happening again at a more moderate pace, closer to 3 to 5%. Now, Cedar City is still correcting. We're a smaller community with less buyers coming to our market than, say, St. George. However, personally, I am seeing a lot of buyers come back to the market, so we may see a little bit more appreciation in July and August. Now, as you take a look at all this data and you come and you want to know, is it a good time to sell? Is it a good time to buy? I'm going to be honest with you, it's very difficult to try and time the market, and here's what I mean by that. I sold my house in Vegas in May of 2020. This was right before things went crazy. I actually made a good amount of money selling this house. I thought, hey, this is the right time. I'm walking away with a decent amount of equity from this home. I sell the home, I move up to Cedar City, start renting and building a home. Well, as I'm watching the next several months and I'm thinking, man, if I had just waited a couple months to sell my home in Vegas, I could have made this much more. So then you're kind of kicking yourself and thinking, I should have just waited. I had no clue things were going to skyrocket like that. Well, let's look at it from the other end. I also started building my home in Cedar City right around the same time. It took me 1 year to get everything done, from plans to permits to securing a loan to getting the home built. So I did that for 1 year. In that amount of time, mortgage interest rates almost doubled from when I sold my home in Vegas to when I finished building my home in Cedar City. Now, if I had waited a few months to sell my home in Vegas and make more off of that home, then I'm pushing back my build in Cedar City, which means I'm getting a mortgage interest rate much higher than the one that I was able to lock in on, which would ultimately hurt me more in the long run. So when I say trying to time the market really doesn't work, I'm being honest with you. I have personal experience with that. Make your choice based on you and what is right for you and your family. If you need to sell, let's sit down, let's see if it's the right decision for you and your family, and then we'll make it work, whatever it is. If you need to buy, same thing. Do your finances work? Do you need something larger? Can you afford the home you want to get into? That's really what you're looking at. It's great to know the data and where the market is heading so that you're not ending up completely upside down. But as we see it now, the market is pretty balanced and really pretty steady. And we are seeing slight depreciation and appreciation. But if you're in it for the long haul, if this is a home that you're looking to move into, or you need to make a move for work purposes, whatever it is, then it really is worth a sit down and having a conversation specific to your needs. All right, remember, my name is Elizabeth Prisbrey. I'm a Stratum Real Estate Group. If you would like to buy, sell, or invest here in Southern Utah, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I would love to help you out with that, and I promise you I will respond. All right, until next time, have a wonderful day.